What happens when you point an AI agent at a big open-ended task and just let it go? Most of the time, it's fine. But every once in a while, Claude or Copilot will decide that the fastest path to your goal involves running a script you didn't ask for, touching files you didn't mention, or even using credentials sitting on your machine to do something you absolutely did not intend. And that's where sandboxes come in. Today, I'm going to show you how to use Docker Sandbox to give your agent a safe, isolated place to work so you get all the productivity without the midnight panic. A sandbox is a secure, isolated micro VM for your AI agent. It's locked down by default, has no access to your OS, and you can control what it can reach in the outside world. Installation is straightforward. The only prerequisite is that you already have a coding agent set up. Docker Sandbox supports all the major agents. Now I'm on Mac, so I'll run the brew install command right here in my VS Code terminal and verify that it's working. Then I'll log in with my Docker account to confirm the device and we're ready to go. For this demo, I'm working with a simple web app that's stored in my documents folder. Now my terminal is already scoped to that same directory that's open in VS Code. So from here, I'll run Claude inside a sandbox, pointing it at this project. Now what that does is it spins up this sandbox, starts Docker, and drops Claude into a fresh, isolated environment that's directly scoped to my project. And notice by default, it's bypassing confirmation prompts and auto-accepting edits. That means Claude can just work without having to stop to ask permission for things every 5 seconds. So it can keep going as long as the task takes. Now, if you're on Copilot or another supported agent, the process is identical, just a different flag on the same basic command. Now, even though Claude is running in an isolated environment, it can still edit the actual files in your project. So any changes it makes in the sandbox are reflected on your real file system via the Sandboxes link to your project directory. So the workflow goes like this. 1, you open your agent in a sandbox. 2, turn it loose on whatever long-running or potentially risky task you've got. And then 3, just sit back while it works, knowing it can't get into anything important outside the sandbox. Now let me open a second terminal on my local machine and pull up the dashboard tool. This is where you can view and manage all of your active sandboxes. So you can see I've got one running for Claude and one running for Copilot. And from here, you can get a quick overview of what each agent is doing and what it has access to, which is genuinely useful when you've got a few things going on at once. Now, beyond just running your agent in the sandbox, you can also open a shell directly into that environment. Just use the exec command with the name of your sandbox and tell it to open bash. Now, this drops you into the workspace directory, but if you navigate to the root, you'll see an exact mirror of your project's file structure, isolated but directly linked to your actual file system for that folder. So these two environments are kind of mirror images of each other. Now, the project I have open in VS Code right now is the exact same project Claude has access to in the sandbox. From my shell session inside the sandbox, I'll install the web app's dependencies and then run the server. So I'm going to host it on 0000, and I'll also take note of the port number that it's running on. So the app is up and running inside the sandbox, but if I try to open it from my local machine, nothing. I can't connect. So the networks aren't linked yet. And that's the isolation working as intended. To actually view it from my local network, I need to forward the port out of the sandbox. So I'll open a terminal on my actual machine and use the ports command to publish the port the web server is running on inside the sandbox. And there it is, the web app running inside the sandbox, accessible in my browser like any normal local dev server. So even if Claude or Copilot starts to run servers or commands or tests inside the sandbox, as long as you're forwarding those ports, you can inspect and see those things outside. Now for the fun part. I'm going to ask Claude, still running in the sandbox, to add a new feature to our web app. Maybe we'll add priority labels for the to-do items. And when I come back, Claude's done. And hey, there's our priority labels, built entirely inside the sandbox and then immediately visible in my browser, nice and clean. It really is that simple. The same pattern, running the agent in the sandbox, getting shell access to that sandbox, and then forwarding ports for viewing. This applies to basically any setup that you have. But we're actually only scratching the surface here. There's a lot more the SBX tool can do that's worth digging into, and this is just going to evolve as time goes on. Now, here at Bitovi, we've been using sandboxes to safely make big changes to complex code bases. And when the situation calls for it, these are a total game changer. So if you want to bring these tools into your team's workflow and get the most out of your AI agents, we can help train your developers. Check out the link in the description for more info. But that's it for me. Thanks for watching and keep innovating.